Alleluia, 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 alleluia. Your words, Lord, are spirit and life. You have the words of everlasting life. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, Lord.
And Jesus and the disciples set out for the villages of Caesarea Philippi. And along the way he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" They said in reply, "John the Baptist, others, Elijah, still others, one of the prophets." And he asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" And Peter said to him, "You are the Christ." Then he warned them not to tell anyone about him, and began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer greatly, be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, be killed, and rise after 3 days. He spoke this openly. Then Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. At this he turned around and, looking at his disciples, rebuked Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan. You are thinking not as God does, but as human beings do." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Well, St. Mark is the earliest Gospel that we have, and this particular moment had to have been really burned into the hearts of the disciples, the apostles. And it was significant enough to be recorded by St. Mark for us. And I have to admit, the question that Jesus asked the disciples is the question. But who do you say that I am? Who is Jesus Christ to us? That was the question he asked the disciples and us. And the recounting that St. Mark gives is really also quite profound, but also very much what happens to us in our spiritual lives. Because it would be easy for us to say with Peter, "You are the Christ. You're my Savior. You're my Lord." But we say it in a way of, like Peter, what's our expectation? What are we looking for? What are we asking for? They, of course, were looking for a ruler, a kingdom ruler, of political ruler. And he was not that. He is a spiritual ruler. And so that really becomes the question for us, is are we stuck with Peter when stuff happens and it's difficult and it's very hard? And are we stuck with Peter saying, you know, this is not going to happen. This is not supposed to happen this way. This is not what is supposed to take place. Or are we with Peter saying, even in those moments, you are the Christ. You are the Christ. And ask for the grace that we need in that moment. Let's take that into this Eucharist, praying as we receive his body and blood, that that grace may be given to us, that we may need to say, you are the Christ.